as we all know, like the city of Phoenix, one of the fastest growing places in the country. Really, basically, the brand is more than an apparel brand, right? It's a way to show identity.
I literally know friends today that have taken jobs to get paid less because they just wanted to be in a different work environment.
Business unites us, right? Commerce unites us. The city, right? Everyone, it's an entrepreneurial state.
Yeah.
But the stories connect us, right?
Welcome back to the Future Human Experience podcast. I am your host, Eric Rodriguez. I'm so excited for our conversation today. I have a fellow tocayo, Eric McIntosh, Senior Director of Community Engagement for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Arizona, and also the founder and owner of Yo Amo AZ, Yo Amo Phoenix. Eric, bienvenido. Welcome to the Future Human Experience.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Pleasure to be here and excited for La Plática.
Yes. Eric, one of the things that we've been having conversations off camera is that we're seeing like this massive growth and impact that we're seeing around the Arizona community. And we're seeing this engagement, economic development, community engagement. There's heightened visibility to what people are doing here in Arizona. And you're in the middle of that as being part of the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. But with that said, what have we seen that's going really well as the state is growing, and where are we still kind of having some gaps on fulfilling some of the promises of what Arizona could be from a human-centered perspective?
Yeah, no, great questions. So as we all know, like the city of Phoenix, one of the fastest growing places in the country, fifth largest city in the country, and the state is booming, right, at an unprecedented rate. You're seeing it's gaining global attention, talent is coming, infrastructure is being built, right? So it's making headlines all around and an opportunity for young and old to come live here. Some of the reasons, some people look at, it's growing so fast, right? And you see it by skyscrapers, and they measure growth, and they measure growth and by the population and by the scale of things building out here.
Sure.
However, they're missing some of the points of where it's the humanization and the cultural identity of the people, right? So there's an issue there of losing touch, right? Losing touch with what the history and cultural storytelling that this beautiful state has.
Yeah, and I love that. We'll talk about that more in Yo Amo, right? And I'm wearing my Yo Amo shirt too. Yo Amo AZ, you're wearing the Yo Amo Phoenix, which is awesome. And so folks that have been following this, I've already worn it a few times on this podcast, or even in my keynotes, Eric, to represent the work that not only you're leading, but the message that this shirt means. As someone that came into Phoenix, into this area 16 years ago now, I remember having that conversation about how do I not only bring myself into this space, but how do I also build on something that's already been built here for us, right? And I think the interesting challenge that Phoenix and the state of Arizona is trying to address, and you brought it in beautifully, right, is that to a certain extent we just don't want to be another just big city, right? We want to be a much more human-centered, culturally relevant community, not only for this generation, but for the generations to come. And sometimes when we have these conversations about the growth of Phoenix, some of the most viral clips that I have on my social media are about the growth of Arizona. And most of the reality or most of the comments that I get from that, Eric, is mostly like, yeah, there's no water there, Eric. Like, why do you think that you guys are going to keep growing? And those are the trolls, and that's fine. But what I find fascinating about your approach to this conversation is that there is an opportunity here to tap into the cultural identity of this work. And with that said, what have you tapped into? What have you explored? What have you seen that either where not only we're missing, but how can we address that, right? As we're entering now, we're closer to 2050s now. Oh my God, sorry. We're closer to 2050s now than we are to the 2000s. What have you seen and as we're building this next generation of Phoenix, the next generation Arizona, to fulfill these promises from a culturally relevant perspective?
Right. So what I see as well is that the people, the youth, right, they are finding a movement of really touching base with their families,
Mm,
right? Touching base with traveling the state and also enjoying the local culture
mm,
from cuisine to
mm,
art
yeah.
to music, right? And they're getting a little bit more engaged in that
Mm,
area and being a little bit more conscious about what's being around them, right?
mm,
For people who are just relatively moving here, right? What we are hoping for as Arizonans, right? Or when you ever go to a new country, new city, uh, you're not moving for uh, sometimes certain economical opportunities, but you really want to have that emotional feeling, right? You want to be felt. You and that's what we're trying to bring
mm.
here when we grow and help businesses, and we hear and listen to businesses that are trying to bring a new product or trying to bring a new service or cuisine
Interesting.
to the valley. It's something that kind of like elevates us mentally but emotionally, where we want to gather around and build that community. So those are kind of like uh,
Intersecting points that you're
yeah,
seeing, right?
correct, and
That is
it's
cool.
it's a beautiful thing to see, but we can't lose touch, right?
Yeah.
Like, is a few things with technology, right?
Mhm.
So with the human AI
Yeah.
collaboration, right, is key, right? Where we're not turned into and we lose our identity, right?
Yes.
So it's good that the youth is coming around and looking to be more
Yeah.
open-minded, and I think even just for our age as well,
Yeah.
uh, people are seeing Arizona as a more of a open,
Yeah.
Wild West place to go, but
Yeah.
with real value.
Yes. Yeah, and I never heard it from that perspective, Eric. I think you brought up something really interesting, right? Which is sometimes we make family decisions or moving decisions for economic reasons, and they're solely just measured that way, or that is a priority. I would argue after COVID, after the 2020, as we enter the 2020s, that has changed drastically, right? Going back to your conversation about remote work and how that has changed with technology, I literally know friends today that have taken jobs to get paid less because they just wanted to be in a different work environment than they were before. They just wanted to be seen or more connected to their work. And we're seeing more and more of that. And I think the bigger macro piece of that is how do you present a state and a community to be that place that you could bring in others as well, right? That yes, there's good economics here. There's nothing wrong with that. But is it the best economics in the entire country? No. But there's other valuable assets that this community brings to the experience, to the human experience,
Right.
that makes Arizona just stand out. So, Eric, one of the things as we're seeing Arizona and Phoenix just become this much more valuable place to experience life and experience the world, one of the aspects in your journey as in the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is talking to community, talking to businesses, and in that effort, you saw something, a gap, um, to build something that we all need as a community,
Mhm.
and you founded this wonderful new company that you're building. Can you tell us a little bit more about Yo Amo?
Yes, Yo Amo has been around since 2025, less than 6 months
Wow.
since the launch, right? And really, basically, the brand is more than an apparel brand, right? It's a way to show identity to the people, celebrating the multicultural roots
Mhm.
of the people of Arizona, right? And of course, celebrating the beautiful landscapes that we have, right? And through this process, you're seeing people see the message in a deeper lens
Mhm.
and show and realize that they want to be seen and they want to be felt and they want that emotional
Mm.
connection of saying, this is where I live and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
This is my local pride, right? And for those visitors who are coming to
Yeah.
visit our beautiful state, they could be visiting their family members, friends or just getting out to see our attractions that we have,
Yeah.
right? And for them, it's a message uh, sharing the cultural aesthetics
Mhm.
of the region, really, really not sometimes just all Arizona, but the Southwest,
Yeah.
right? And the pathways that people come from
Mhm.
traveling who love the Southwest,
Mhm.
from Colorado
Mhm.
to Santa Fe,
Yeah.
right, to California to Nevada. The bottom southern Southwest area is a home to a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? And they navigate, and sometimes they just stay in Arizona, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's because they now have a love for it, right?
Yeah.
And so the brand came about of really trying to connect the people and unite the people, right?
Mhm.
I uh I I synergized the logo of pushing it together. I really enjoyed the lines, a way of connecting the people and expanding the city through
Mhm.
harmony and love. It's a homage to to the Hispanic heritage and the people, right?
Mm.
It's a great way to symbolize uh, the area as well,
Mhm.
right? We have so many visitors from Latin America,
Yeah.
Mexico, Spain, Spanish speakers,
Mhm.
and people who just love anything that
Yeah.
has to do with the Latino culture,
Yeah.
right? And it's just a part of us as well, right? It's the fastest growing segment in
Yeah.
Arizona. So studying the audience, right?
Yeah.
It works well, right?
Yeah.
For the people who visit here and live here. But also it's just a way of kind of like just when you see the message, it's really like, what's your story, right?
Yes.
Why do you love
Yeah.
Arizona,
Yeah.
right? And it's a sense of belonging, and that's what I'm trying to bring, right?
Yeah.
With it, and hope to. Part of the business model is at the top. It's like a triangle. It's
Yeah.
love, promote and boost the Arizona economy,
It's cool.
and cultural aesthetics. Support those local
Mm.
artists, right? Support and promote what Arizona is all about, right?
I love that. And Eric, it reminds me that when I first moved here with my wife Lorena, who you know as well, she worked for the chamber for a few years. We honestly moved here with like an 18-month, 24-month plan. Like that was it. It's like, yeah, we'll be here for a few months. That's it. I live in that Watuki area, so I never thought I had to learn how to spell Watuki because I'm like, I'm not gonna be here for that long. And slowly it just like started to, you know, be part of us. And we got it was mostly because we got engaged in the community. It was never hey, I'm just here and I'm just not gonna get involved. One of the first things we learned from where we came from, we lived in New Orleans first before we moved here. And one of the things we learned in New Orleans, which is the way you build communities, just be in the service to the community. And so we brought that mindset here. And we moved here in the 2010s when the most well-known politician at that time was George Bayo. We had just gone through Gabby Gifford's situation as well, her shooting. We were about to lose, I think, the All-Star game and maybe even hosting the Super Bowl, I believe, and around that time. SB 1070 was also passed around that. Like it was all this stuff like within 90 days.
Mhm.
And I remember getting a call from my parents like, are you really thinking of just living there for 2 months or 2 years? Like you could just cut that down to a year and just move back to Houston, right? Where all the family's from. But because we got engaged with the community, because we got engaged with the chamber, because we got engaged in all these other organizations, building community, learning from others, we're like, no, there's something special here. Like folks are doing some work that we don't still get to see in these headlines,
Mhm.
but it's coming. Like it is around the corner. And I'm so grateful for organizations like yourself, the work that you get to lead, the passion that you're bringing into bringing this company, this organization to life. It's just tapping into that specialness that we all feel in some form of fashion. And the second story that it reminds me of is the other day we were about to go to a semi-professional event with my wife, and it wasn't like a jacket event, but it was like a nice polo shirt event. I was realizing I don't have a nice polo shirt. The only nice polo shirts I have are like my Houston sports shirts, my Diamondback shirts, and my nice shirts that like this all have to do with the states and the programs I care about.
Mhm.
Right. Because when I wear something, I want it to mean something.
Right.
It's not just like, okay, I'm just going to wear, okay, this is just because I have to wear this shirt and tie. There's nothing wrong with that. But the majority of my time that I have either with my kids on the weekends, when I want to wear something that represents who I am and what I want to stand for.
Mhm.
And it means the world to me that I have a shirt as cool as yours, and I get to wear at least once a week, if not twice a week, because I just wore this on Tuesday. I had to make sure I cleaned it for our conversation today. To represent, right,
Mhm.
what I stand for. So absolutely, what we wear and how we want to represent ourselves in the community matters a lot. And I think that's what, as we're building this human-centered era, I think that's also at that, going to your point, that intersection of this work that we get to do today.
Right. Yeah. No. And just a quick comment on that. Like, what I feel is that, you know, business unites us, right?
Mm,
Commerce
mm,
unites us, the city, right?
mm.
Everyone, it's an entrepreneurial state.
Yeah,
Uh, but the stories connect us,
yeah,
right? And the stories from the shirt. Oh, what does that mean,
right.
right? I've already heard a few people wear the shirt in Times Square in New York, and
That's
like
good.
6 people came up to them, and they're like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, that is the coolest shirt ever!"
yeah,
And then, or like, "What does that mean?"
yeah,
Oh, and now they're learning a new language.
yeah, yeah.
Yo means I,
Mhm,
amo means love.
mhm.
And now people are learning Spanish,
Yeah,
right? To the
yeah,
people who don't speak Spanish,
yeah.
right? So it comes as a way of bringing back a keepsake, a gift
Mm,
from a positive emotion that they experienced in Arizona or just for local pride, and bringing it to someone where they can now
that's good.
share the story of go visit
Yeah.
Arizona because of this and that, who and them,
Wow.
right? So it turns into a very powerful,
Also,
flexible
yeah.
message, right? So
Yeah, and we just had someone in the audience of my keynote send you the picture of me wearing that shirt. I
yeah,
had no
yeah,
idea that you knew
the video.
that. A video. That is cool, right? Because
Yeah,
I wanted to tell you today that
yeah,
I had done that. You're like, oh yeah, Eric, I know you
yeah,
were there on Tuesday. Because I
yeah,
was like, what? And so that's really nice to see that
yeah,
it's now becoming something that we get to share because we're all experiencing it in some form or fashion.
right.
Yeah. So Eric, with that said though, too, where do you see the future of Arizona going, right? I mean, one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast and in my keynotes when I have a chance to speak to audiences is I do feel that Arizona has the opportunity to be one of the most important places in the Western world in the 2040s. I firmly believe that. Yes, there are some challenges that we have to deal with. Absolutely. But all the signs, all the puzzle pieces seem to be building right around us.
Mhm.
And I do think that there's going to be a business case written about the state in maybe 15 to 20 years. And they're either going to say one or two things. Either one, wow, this is how Arizona put all this together in the 2000s and is now the most important place in the Western world. Or they're going to say, two, what do we need to learn from Arizona to make sure we don't do this again? If we want to be relevant, don't squash this opportunity
Right.
to be as important as we can be. Where do you see this future go in there in these two possibilities? And where do you see your work intersecting with some of this, well, those options?
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I don't share that. Oh, I'm thirsty, right? I need water. Oh, we don't have water, right? And it's always a topic, right?
Yeah,
It's
so it's a
always a
topic.
topic
Yeah.
from people all around who are visiting, right? And like, well, how do you survive? You guys are almost out of water.
Yeah.
Uh, but going forward, I mean, the success of Arizona really depends on consistency,
Mm,
of what initiatives are out there, right?
mm,
What initiatives can be made from the top of government officials
mm.
to the person thinking of an idea, right? And how can we bridge that gap where we're all working together on an overall goal to make
Mm,
individual lives better
mm,
and other lives better,
mm,
right? The cultural awareness, right? It's
mm,
key that with all that AI is coming in and changing the narrative, you could say a little bit, is that we don't lose touch of the stories that have been in our past,
mm.
right? From from each person to
Yeah,
thousands of years ago,
yeah,
right? How the Grand Canyon was formed, right?
yeah.
So all these little things is that ways that we can keep uh, the trajectory and the movement of people relevant
Mm,
and creating spaces,
Mm,
right? Creating spaces like you are doing with your work,
mm,
right? A space of connectivity, which you're doing fabulous work, and we need
thank
more of that, right? We need more spaces for people to be heard
you. Mm,
and brought together,
I love that. Yeah.
right? So as long as we have that path, right? I think that we're well on our way. Um, there's always the challenges I think of 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 climate
Yeah.
resources that every state has
Sure.
challenges with. But I think if we're grounded and find our roots, right, and not forget
Yeah.
and just really believe and take risks
Yeah,
sometimes, right?
absolutely. Yeah, and I think sometimes some of those the challenges that we're facing today, moving on to the future, they're mostly scientific challenges, right? And I think even today, if I were to talk to someone 100 years in the past or 200 years in the past, and they're like, "Wait, Phoenix is the fifth largest city in the country today, right?" And it's mostly because of the work that they were doing at that time, right? The canals that were built, they were built by the Native Americans, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken,
Yeah.
right? Like that is the legacy that we get to build, right? And through the work and through the sacrifice that we get to be where we're at today. And I'm sure there's going to be some type of discovery or scientific exploration on how do we build the 21st century city in a space that's also dealing with a lot of climate challenges as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, and a funny note here is, well, I grew up in Glendale, Arizona,
Okay.
and Hermosillo, Sonora,
Okay. Oh
but I
wow.
did all my schooling pretty much in Glendale, and going to the canals. So
Yeah.
there is history of the canals going through Glendale when they first started, right? And the Hispanic
Oh
immigrant
wow.
workforce, yeah,
I didn't know.
were
Okay.
were were were
We're
part of that
instrumental in that
in
too. Okay.
building that as
Oh,
well.
wow. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, when you
So
see how the city has expanded and grown, I mean, yeah, you get to uncover all these wonderful stories and the impact that so many folks have made for generations. Um, Eric, with that, we do something super special with all of our guests. We ask them to come up with a surprise question for me that I have not heard or seen, and so I'm really excited to hear your question today on the Future Human Experience podcast.
yeah, if there's time for two, I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
one was like, what do you feel in the last year or two that you've been very proud of your work during this show that you have?
Yeah.
What's something that's really stood out that's really transformed your life?
Ooh, I think what's been really cool about this platform has been that it's given us opportunity to bring in folks to explore those ideas and test some of those edges. And from that has come individuals reaching out to those guests and
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, I saw this conversation with Eric Rodriguez, and I just want to reach out to you and talk to you more about what you were doing or what you're doing." I've had a former teacher also in here started with some STEM initiatives and say, "Eric, no one had ever responded back to my applications until your episode came out and they saw it and it was just much more than just an application. It was a conversation about why I cared about this work." I had someone else, a student, reach out to one of our guests. He's actually worked for the Diamondbacks and said that he was interested in going into sales and sports and he didn't know anyone. And he saw the podcast just randomly on YouTube, and that opened up that channel for him to reach out to Mike and LinkedIn. So there's so many of these stories that are coming out from these conversations or social clips that come out. And that's been really rewarding to see that, because at the end of the day, this platform was just out there to share it and for me to explore these ideas with
Mhm.
individuals that kind of, to a certain extent, selfishly test my thesis that the world is much more human, and what do we do to go and build that. What I didn't know I was building was a platform to share with so many other individuals and reach an audience that I would have never thought about. And it's thanks to individuals like yourself, thanks to individuals like Monica and so many others that have been on this journey that has validated this work, right? And been like, okay, this is cool. We need to keep doing this because this is not only helping organizations, but it's inspiring individuals too to just look the world a little bit differently. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Yeah, and like as I mentioned earlier, was stories connect us, right? And
Yes.
you're connecting
Yes.
people. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And one last thing that
Yes.
was on a personal level was like, wow, all right. We're wearing the same shirt, kind of same jacket. But and then we have the same name, right? Because I run across a lot of Latinos
Yeah.
who have the K,
Yes.
but you don't have the
I
K,
don't.
and I don't have the K
Yeah.
either. So, do you have any can you elaborate a little bit on
What's my story for that?
with Eric?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, so I asked my parents this one time, and so I get different versions every year that I ask them this. But the latest version I heard was that there was like an Olympic gold winner skater or something. His name was Eric Garu, and I think he was like from Denmark or something like that. And my dad saw it.
Winter Olympics.
Probably, yeah, because I'm a December baby.
Okay.
And yeah, you're right. Yeah, so it's probably now I should look at exactly who won that year.
Yeah.
That was born. And yeah, and so that resonates. That was one. That's why it was Eric. But also the reason why he wanted a short name was because my last name is very long. And so he would always think about my signature. For some reason, he says that he's like, I would always think about your signature. And so he's like, I wanted you to have a short first name because you have a very long last name. And so that's the Eric. What about you? What is your Eric story? Why are you Eric with a C?
Yeah. So I have an older brother named Mark with a C.
Oh,
And so that was one reason
okay.
to go, to rhyme, to go well when my mom was like, Marky, Eric, right?
Yeah.
But it was, my mom was reading the book on Eric the Red, the
Yeah,
Viking,
okay.
the Viking.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And so she liked the name and she was like, oh, he's a conqueror, adventurer, right? So Eric
That's
the Red
cool.
from the Vikings,
That's cool.
Norwegian Viking.
I've never gotten that question on what I've seen different versions of Eric's. But yeah, I always appreciate it. And anytime anyone asks me, it's like, are you with the C or with the K? I tell them with the C and I say, thank you for asking. I always tell them that. So but Eric McIntosh, how could people get a hold of you, connect with the work that you're doing at the chamber or with Yo Amo? How could people
With the chamber, feel free to go to our website. You can find all our email addresses of the staff on there. And also on LinkedIn, I'm on Eric McIntosh. So you can find me there as well. The website for Yo Amo is yoamoaz.com, right? And you can find merch and a little bit about the story of Phoenix and AZ. And then on Instagram, please follow me at yo.amo.az. And let's start the movement growing.
Well, Eric, thank you. Well, first off, we're going to have all those links on our show notes, and so you'll be able to tap into and connect with Eric and the work that you are leading. But more importantly, thank you so much for being part of the Future Human Experience and helping us build a much more human-centered future.
Yeah, thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I'm inspired to hear that these conversations are resonating within our communities, our organizations, our companies, and our households all around the world. If you found this conversation to be valuable, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else. I do believe that as the future gets much more digitized, it gives us an opportunity to be much more human as well. And these conversations are part of that journey. So if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please check out these videos. Thank you.